What's wrong?
This is what I was thinking about. Why is Adrian so against me talking to you? Why doesn't he want me to get to know you and form my own opinion? Why is he just so...
Controlling? Yuri goes dead silent. Not that I'm trying to intrude in your guys' relationship, because it's none of my business. But it seems to me he's trying to control you.
No, I don't think he's trying to control me.
Yuri, what he's doing, trying to steer you away from talking to me when you want to, is literally the textbook definition of controlling. It's toxic. If you don't want to talk to me, fine. No hard feelings. But if you want to, then he should just learn to accept that. I've tried to be as respectful as possible towards your guys' relationship, and the last thing I want to do is become between you two. I get why Adrian would have issues with me, but I never realized he felt this strongly about it. Granted, I thought his request from the get-go was a little odd, but I went with it. I did kind of owe him, after all.
You know, while we're on the subject, I think there's something you should know.
Yeah, what's up?
The day Adrian and I came to your rescue from Kai and his servants, I'm the one who made Adrian go in and check it out.
Huh? Really?
Yes. Adrian and I were walking the halls. We were taking a break from the literature club, and we just so happened to be in the area of that classroom you were in. We heard shouting, so we decided to investigate. We looked through the little window on the door and we saw you with Kai. Adrian wanted to turn around and walk away, but I pulled him aside and asked him to go in and make sure everything was okay. I begged him to, and he eventually relented. You obviously know the rest.
Yeah, Shiro says as he tenderly rubs his jaw. Well, as surprised as I am to hear all this, why tell me? I already know Adrian doesn't like me.
I'm telling you because I'm concerned that he's letting his dislike of you get the better of him. I don't want it to define the person that he is. But I'm not going to put you down because he can't control his feelings.
Yuri, you really don't need to put yourself through all this for my sake. I'm really not worth it.
Don't say that about yourself.
Shiro gapes his mouth at Yuri, completely stunned by her sudden change in demeanor. Yuri turns red with embarrassment, but she decides to roll with it.
Look.
Well, what? Yuri turns her body to fully face Shiro and grabs his wrists, pulling him closer to her.
I know what it's like to be alone for so long. To be ridiculed. To be ignored. To be forgotten. There was a time in my life where I was in your shoes. Being the unpopular kid. I didn't have an arch nemesis or anything, but for a good portion of my life, I was largely excluded and ignored by my classmates. Very few people have ever given me a chance, and I missed out on so much. We may have different experiences, being a bunch of loners, but I understand the pain and loneliness that comes with it. I refuse to let you willingly subject yourself to that experience any longer. So, I'm willing to be your friend. Only if you'll let me.
Yuri releases her grip on Shiro and outstretches one of her hands to him. Shiro silently gazes down at it, lost for words. No one has ever said anything like that to me before. After everything I've endured, after everything I've done, do I really deserve friendship? Can I really be a good friend to someone like her? Shiro sees a shadow over Yuri's shoulder. He can't quite make out who it is, but he feels a familiar yet calming aura radiating from the figure. He hasn't felt that presence since... Maybe, just maybe, it doesn't hurt to try. Shiro smiles warmly at Yuri as he looks into her violet eyes and accepts the handshake. I'll let you. Shiro croaks out. Yuri takes her other hand and gently places it on Shiro's.
Well, here's to long-lasting friendship then.
Yeah, totally. The two stare at each other in silence as Yuri slowly releases her grip on Shiro's hand, blushing to herself. Shiro looks on at Yuri, bemused. You good?
Oh, yeah, just savoring the moment, I suppose. It made me feel happy.
Well, glad I helped. Yuri steals another look at the city on the horizon.
Well, we've best be on our way. It's getting late.
See you at the literature club tomorrow, then.
Most certainly.
Yuri says with an infectious smile, making Shiro return one himself. The two get off from the bench and leave the rooftop. As the doors shut behind him, a silhouetted figure emerges from around the corner, twirling his phone in his hand.
Well, ain't that just interesting?
The clubs have finished for the day, and nearly all the faculty members have left to go home as well. However, the student council room remains peculiarly occupied. The doors to the president's office open. Victor enters the room as Randy sits across from Jeremy in silence.
Victor, I was beginning to wonder if you were coming at all. Sorry, I was following up on a juicy lead. Any particular reason for this late afternoon meeting?
Jeremy nods as he gestures for Victor to shut the door behind him. Victor closes the door and takes the seat next to Randy.
I'll get right to the point. I want to know what happened with this picture gate scandal. What about it? I need to know why Kai did all this. What makes you think he had anything to do with it at all? I'm not joking around here. What happened with Charlotte, Kayla, and Ruby was enough to make my stomach churn. I didn't sanction any action to be taken against them, much less against Michael either. Considering Kai decided to play hero and tried to bring in Michael, tells me all I need to know that this was his doing. Whatever you guys did, I need to know, and I need to know it now, otherwise we're all fucked.
Victor exchanges a look with Randy. Randy looks on at Victor nervously as he sighs.
You're being a little bitch about this. Even if Kai had something to do with it, all the proof is pointed at Harrington, so I don't see the need to panic.
Jeremy slams his fist against the desk.
That's not the point, damn it. I told Connolly to leave Harrington alone. He wasn't causing us any problems. Much less Charlotte. That girl was a nobody. I can't have you guys offing students left or right and not telling me why. Well, she was causing problems, so we took care of her for you. You're welcome. Oh, and I suppose I'll be left in the dark for what exactly she was doing that warranted you guys taking things this far. Don't know. Ask Kai.
Jeremy slowly gets up from his desk.
Oh, I'd love to. If I knew when he was coming back. He should be coming back tomorrow, the way I heard it.
Wait, he texted you?
Yeah.
Randy looks suspiciously at Victor as he pulls out his phone to see if Kai texted him. No new messages. What the hell? Who was thinking that?
Oh, great. He can't even keep his own people in the loop. Kai's really losing his edge. I've been dealing with this mess for the last 4 days, and it's been a miracle that Rankin and the other idiots haven't figured out what you 3 did. Now tell me what you did, so I can figure out how to protect you guys. I don't know why I'm being stonewalled.
Victor shrugs his shoulders as he leans back in his chair. Randy sits completely still. He suddenly meets Jeremy's gaze, who walks around his desk and takes a seat on it.
You have anything you'd like to share, Randy? I'd appreciate it if you could be a team player.
Randy once again looks at Victor, beating his cobra-like stare. He then recalls Kai's instructions at the start of this whole mission.
Don't tell Jeremy anything.
But why? Jeremy's supposed to be our ally, even if it's our goal to one day get power over him so we don't have to play by his rules. And yet that flies in the face of Kai's whole thing for equality. Jeremy's been more than helpful to us. Why can't we keep him in the loop, especially since this concerns everyone? So the choice for me isn't exactly a great one. Stick to Kai's instructions, thereby leaving possibly the only person who can bail us out if things go sideways in the dark. Or telling the truth and pissing off Kai.
Randy lets out a long sigh.
Charlotte was looking into why the anime club went under, and she came pretty damn close to exposing Kai. We had to take action, and, well, you know the rest.
The room falls dead silent. Only the occasional gust of wind can be heard pounding against the window. Victor stares down Randy, a mix of utter fury and confusion on his face while Jeremy facepalms.
You can't be serious.
I wish I wasn't. Kai, for whatever reason, decided not to keep you in the loop. I don't know why. I've been asking myself that question as well. As far as I understood, Charlotte only had enough information to get Kai in trouble. None of us were ever linked. He deleted Charlotte's tape off her phone, so like Victor said, there's really nothing linking us to this whole thing.
Jeremy lets out a frustrated sigh.
I can't believe this is the first time I'm hearing all this. I should have known Kai was compromised immediately. I don't think he can clean up his own messes. Puff! Why did he go to such extreme lengths? And what did Harrington, Ellen, and Phillips have to do with all this?
Kai wanted to use Harrington as the fall guy. Alan and Phillips were just extra bodies. They weren't in the original plan.
Jeremy sighs.
What a fucking mess. I don't think I need to remind you that we're all at risk of going down, do I?
Jeremy's voice angrily bellows around the room.
If so much as one of you is found to be involved, it'll spell disaster for the rest of us. They'll work up the chain and find out just how far things have spread. They won't just find out about Picturegate, they'll find out the whole truth about the poem fiasco last year and everything else we've been up to. Kai grossly miscalculated here. I understand that he felt that he had to act fast, but what he did crosses the line. Even I have limits.
If you really have an issue with it, take up with Kai when he gets back.
Oh, I plan to. You're both lucky that they don't suspect you two. The school, however, does suspect Kai. They're waiting to get his testimony before they decide on what to do. As far as I know, we're not suspects. Of course, that could change depending on what our little mastermind says to Rankin.
Jeremy walks back and sinks into his chair, letting out a long sigh.
So, what do we do now?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Act normal and distance yourselves as far away as possible from Kai. Consider any of this little schemes on ice, too. Don't pretend I don't know what you guys have been up to, either. If I catch any one of you out of line again, you're finished.
Oh, and with that, what leverage? Do you know who you're talking to?
I know, and I don't give a shit. Now, since you brought up leverage...
Jeremy opens his filing cabinet under his desk and procures a manila folder. He slaps down on his desk and gestures for Victor to approach. Victor gingerly walks up and picks up the folder, slowly opening it. Immediately, the color from his face drops.
How did you...
It's amazing what you can use the power of the presidency for. If you think that's bad, I'd love to show you what I have on the other student council members, but I'd prefer to keep those cards close to my chest.
Victor shuts the folder and tosses it back onto Jeremy's desk.
Whenever Kai comes back, send him my way immediately. He and I are going to have a long talk. You're dismissed.
Victor angrily storms out of the room with Randy quickly in tow. Victor turns the corner and slams his fist into a locker. The force of the impact rings loudly throughout their barren hallway.
I can't believe he got his hands on that. That fucking son of a bitch.
You're one to talk.
Victor snaps his neck to Randy.
I don't want to hear shit from you. You completely snitched on Kai.
What was I supposed to do? Also, you really think that's bad compared to what you did earlier today?
Oh, don't tell me you still got that whole thing up your ass.
I do. If I listened to you, she could have died, and I would have had that on my hands.
Victor rolls his eyes.
People die all the time. Big whoop.
What the actual hell is wrong with you?
Randy says as he towers over Victor, his face mere inches away from Victor's. Randy cracks his knuckles as he struggles to contain his rage.
Are you fucked in the head or something?
Victor rolls his eyes as he pushes Randy out of his personal space. The shove unexpectedly makes Randy lose his balance.
If you've seen half the shit I have, maybe you'd get it. I wouldn't expect some golden child of an athlete to understand. So think twice before you think about getting in my face like that again.
Randy recovers his balance and glares back at Victor.
I don't know why Kai keeps your ass around.
Victor scoffs.
Guess you don't know him as well as you think you do.
Yeah, sure.
The two stare each other down for a few more seconds before they both let out a sigh and ease off each other.
So what was the juicy lean you were talking about earlier?
Victor lets out a hearty laugh.
You really think I'm going to tell you after you laid it all out for Jeremy, especially after Kai told us not to? No, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'll tell Kai myself next time I see him.
All right, if you want to be a prick about it.
Victor shakes his head and walks away from Randy, leaving him standing alone in the hallway. As the afternoon reaches its peak, the park begins to bustle to life with patrons. However, it's not too overcrowded with people, allowing some to find enjoyment of the park in solitude. Yuri sits on the park bench alone, reading her book until she looks up and sees someone familiar approaching. She puts her book away in her bag and walks up to join him.
Good afternoon, Adrian.
Yuri cheerfully smiles.
Afternoon, babe.
Adrian says, Drain says as No, bleh. A drain, says as she pulls her into a... Okay, yeah, this is all screwed up. Kissing her on the forehead. The kiss prompts Yuri to blush brightly.
You made it here earlier than I thought.
Yeah, as it turns out, that makeup test was super short.
Well, I just hope you passed.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Or rather, pardon me, I'm sure I did fine, not worried about it. Anyways, you ready?
Yes, lead the way.
Adrian takes Yuri's hand and the two begin their walk in the park.
So, how's it going on preparing the literature club for the festival?
It's going all right, I suppose. I actually got the supplies I needed for it before I came here, and tomorrow I'll start putting everything together.
You know, I would have been happy to pay for all that.
I know, but I have plenty of my own money that I've saved up, so it's no worries.
If you say so.
The two take another dozen or so steps in silence.
So, is Shira going to be helping you guys out with the festival?
Yeah, he'll be helping out Natsuki with the baking.
That's good. As long as he keeps away from you, there should be no issues.
Yuri stops in her tracks. Adrian feels Yuri stop, prompting him to turn around to face her.
What? What's wrong?
Adrian, you shouldn't need to worry about Shiro, really. He's not this perverted creep.
Adrian groans.
Ugh, do we really have to talk about this again?
You're the one who keeps bringing him up.
Fair point, but I'm just concerned, that's all.
He says as he slowly walks up to Yuri, placing his hands on her shoulders.
I love you, Yuri. You really mean the world to me. You're really the only ray of sunshine in this crushing pit of darkness that we call life. You're the one thing I can look at and truly smile. In fact, you're the first one that's been able to bring that out in me in a long time. I don't want to lose that again. So, do forgive me when I'm being watchful. I trust you, I don't trust Shiro.
I appreciate you saying all that, and I love you too. The last thing I want is for us to have problems. I can understand you have your reasons for disliking Shiro, but perhaps you can work something out with him.
Adrian cocks his head back.
Why would I do that? I've known the guy for 5 years and I can't say I've seen him act any better.
But he hasn't acted inappropriately towards me.
Not yet. That little hug had me sweating bullets.
Yuri sighs.
It was purely a platonic, comforting hug. There was no romance in that moment.
I trust that you didn't feel anything, but how can you be certain he didn't feel something towards you then? You can't know for sure what goes on inside his head.
True, but I can judge his actions and deduce that he doesn't see me like that. Look, is there a specific reason you dislike Shiro? Did you guys have some sort of falling out some time ago?
Why do you care?
Yuri stares back at Adrian, taken off guard.
Look, here's the problem with Shiro. He manages to get his fat ass into other people's business one way or another. I mean, look how we're talking about him right now. It's because he brings his problems with him to every new person he meets, and those who want nothing to do with it get sucked in. This is exactly what happened in middle school. And I'm not about to let you or me get sucked into this shit. So do what I tell you and stay away from Robillard. Don't talk to him.
You can't control who I talk to and don't talk to, Adrian. You say that you trust me, yet you don't trust me to handle Shiro.
Adrian suddenly cuts himself off before he can finish his sentence, letting out a frustrated groan.
Look, it's not worth ruining our date over talking about him. Let's just enjoy the day we have planned together. I came here for you, Yuri, not to talk about other people. So can we just drop this, please?
Defeated, Yuri lets out a sigh.
All right, if that's what you want.
Great.
Adrian leans into Yuri, kissing her on the cheek. Yuri would normally feel her heart skip a beat, but instead she feels it sink into her chest.
Come on, I heard there's a great food vendor just up ahead.
Adrian says joyfully as Yuri half-heartedly continues walking with him.